Hello, and welcome to Church of the Beatitudes, both members and visitors. Life has certainly changed, but there are still some constants in our life, which includes faith and our services. Here at Church of the Beatitudes, we're a progressively minded community that believes that by coming together, we're empowered to make God's love real in tangible ways for others. This pandemic and call for social distancing has certainly changed how we worship. We can't be together right now in person, but we can still connect spiritually. So please join us as we worship virtually.
Welcome to Church of the Beatitudes online. We got to quit meeting like this, and we will. We will eventually, I promise you, be able to gather in person. And perhaps you find it discouraging, and you're not alone. Because our lives literally have been turned upside down. And many of us wonder, how in the world are we going to get upright? We're going to be okay. And this next 45 minutes is your opportunity to get upright again. I don't know what you've experienced this week. I don't know what you've gone through. But whatever it is, this is your opportunity to become recentered, to reconnect with the divine in however you understand and experience that in your life. We're going to give you opportunities in the next 45 minutes to experience the divine through words, through images, through music. Wherever you find that sense of connection, relish that moment. In the next 45 minutes, we will talk to your mind, but we will also talk to your spirit. So be open to that. If this is your first time joining us, we would like the opportunity to share with you who we are and what we stand for. You might have seen that on the website, but we have some other information we would like to share with you. And so you will see at the bottom of the screen where it says text, and it'll give you a number. If you'll text that, we won't bother you, we won't keep hounding you, but we would like to share with you a little bit about who we are. Because we believe that Church of the Beatitudes is special. Not special in the sense that we're better than other churches, but special in the sense that we have a unique role to play within Christianity. Please, take this time to be very present in this very moment and experience the divine as you listen to the rest of this service.
You shall rise up with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. And all the trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands while you rise up with joy. You shall rise up with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. And all the trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands while you rise up with joy.
This time of reflection is really picked from a favorite poem of mine, especially during monsoon season. We are at the start of monsoon season, and if you can tell, there has been a lot of humidity in the air, but no rainfall. So this poem by Joy Harrow, Praise the Rain, is Let's Praise the Rain. You'll have an opportunity to hear me recite this poem to you And then you'll have an opportunity to read the words on the screen along with some mindful music. I hope you enjoy this week's meditation, and I hope that we soon can praise the rain. Praise the Rain by Joy Harrow. Praise the rain, the seagull dive, the curl of plant, the raven talk. Praise the hurt, the house slack, the stand of trees and the dignity. Praise the dark, the moon cradle, the sky fall, the bear sleep. Praise the mist, the warrior name, the earth eclipse, the fired leap. Praise the backwards, upward sky, the baby cry, the spirit food. Praise canoe, the fish rush, the hole for frogs, the upside down. Praise the day, the cloud cup, the mind flat, forget it all. Praise madness, praise sad, praise the path on which we're led. Praise the roads on earth and water. Praise the eater and the eaten. Praise beginnings, praise the end. Praise the song and praise the singer. Praise the rain, it brings more rain. Praise the rain, it brings more rain.
yourself and the glade. Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade. Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade. Where did you walk, cool Gilself and the glade? Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade. Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade. Where did you tread? The blushing flowers shall rise, and all things flourish, and all things flourish. Where did you turn your eyes? Where did you turn your eyes? Where did you turn your eyes? Where did you walk? Cool Gill South and the glade. Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade. Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade. Where did you walk? Cool Gill South and the glade. Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade. Trees where you sit shall crowd into a shade.
This week's scripture reading is Psalm 115, verses 14 through 16. May the Lord give you successes, and may God give you and your children successes. May you be blessed by the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Heaven belongs to the Lord, but God gave the earth to people.
Christianity is a powerful force within our nation. No surprise. Those that come up with the policies that will govern us, those who come up with the laws by which we will live our lives, the vast majority of these individuals, they are Christians. And so when it comes to their thinking of what is best for our nation and what is best for our world, they can't just set that aside. It influences how they think and how they perceive the situation that is before them. We see this most clearly in the issue of global warming, climate change, and our environments. Again, Christianity, like in the past, is divided on this issue. There are those who look at this issue and believe that it is serious enough that if we don't act right now to change the trajectory that our world is on, we're going to be in trouble. Then there are other Christians who look at the issue and say that, no, we have no control over the situation that we find ourselves in. Again, this creates this division between the two. But not only is there a division in different ideas, but within Christianity, we see that one side sees the other side as a threat, and vice versa. This is seen so clearly in the video that you are about to see, entitled Resisting the Green Dragon. Watch closely.
In what has become one of the greatest deceptions of our day, radical environmentalism is striving to put America and the world under its destructive control. This so-called green dragon is seducing your children in our classrooms and popular culture. Its lust for political power now extends to the highest global levels. And its twisted view of the world elevates nature above the needs of people, of even the poorest and the most helpless. With millions falling prey to its spiritual deception, the time is now to stand and resist.
The religious and political environmental movement, what we call the Green Dragon, has become one of the greatest threats to society and the church in our day.
Taking care of the earth sounds like a good idea because it is a good idea. What most Christians don't understand is that environmentalism is a whole worldview.
It offers its own doctrines of God, of creation, of humanity, of sin, and of redemption.
I think the fear-mongering is simply a way of obtaining power. Whoever controls the environmental regulations controls the economy, controls the population.
Most environmentalists want to greatly reduce human population, which is why the Green Movement and the population control and reduction movements have gone hand in hand.
The Green Dragon series is not simply about global warming. This is a 12-week series about properly understanding the times in which we live and properly understanding a biblical response to the times in which we live.
In this series of lectures, we have some of the world's leading Christian experts addressing one of the greatest threats that now faces society and the church. We call this resisting the Green Dragon.
If you noticed in that video some of the key words, they said that the Green Dragon is and notice, a religious, an economical, and an environmental and a political movement. And the first one they talk about is its religious movement. The sense being that within Christianity, this Green Dragon is a threat to the church itself, and that it is built upon false doctrine around God and about the sin and the nature of humanity. But how did we get here? How did we get to the point that global warming would become one of the greatest issues to divide Christianity? In order to find that answer, we need to go back to the 2000s, the early 2000s. During this period of time, there were environmentalists who realized that the only way they were ever going to get through government any type of laws that would regulate our carbon footprint on our world was by being able to take a few Republicans and sway them and move them over so that they would vote with the rest of Democrats. The environmentalists also realized that since the 1970s, that evangelical Christianity and the Republicans have been joined together. So if they were going to be able to sway some Republicans, they were going to also have to sway some evangelicals. And so they begin this effort to bring about an awareness of what was happening in our world, what was happening to our world, how it was warming up. And from 2000 through 2005, they saw great success. By 2006, throughout the media, they were putting out there the idea that evangelical Christians were now supporting climate change and were willing to make the changes that would be necessary for us to slow that down. But with any movement, there will be a counter movement. And that's exactly what happened this time again. As the Christian right and some of the Republicans began to see what was taking place, they felt a sense of threat. For the Republicans, this threat came from those that were supporting them, especially those within the fossil fuel industry. They were putting a great deal of money into making sure that regulations would continue to be rolled back or new regulations would not take place. And so when they began to see Republicans beginning to move in a direction that they were uncomfortable with, they began to apply pressure to them. I mean, this isn't just ideas that I think of, it's actually there. You can watch Republicans who in 2000 began to acknowledge, yes, we have global warming taking place, but by 2006, they had actually reversed it and publicly said that they doubted the science behind global warming. So that was one effort, was on the Republican side. On the other side was the evangelicals. There were some of the stalwart of the Christian right movement who began to realize that this new emphasis on climate change was becoming a distraction to the core three ideas that evangelicals had united behind: abortion, morality, and in particular, same-sex marriage, and religious freedom. That's where all their time and effort had been focused on, were those three things. And they begin to realize that if evangelicals begin to focus upon climate change, that these three might take a hit. So they also begin to apply pressure upon their fellow evangelicals to encourage them to begin to doubt what climate change was saying, as well as to encourage them to rethink how the Bible and theology addressed the climate issues. For the next couple of years, there were different organizations that were established with that end in mind, to sway evangelicals back and have them become skeptical about global warming. And it began to work. The video that you saw earlier, it was created by one of these organizations called the Cornwall Alliance. And they succinctly state their idea of why they see global warming as a threat to the Christian church. From their website, I found the following, and it says, "We believe global warming alarmism fails the test of theology, science, and economics." Now, in working for this sermon, I decided to stay within my wheelhouse, my niche. And so when I saw the word that fails the test of theology, that's what I focused in on. Science and economics, I can read about it, but that's not my main focus. So instead of talking about those, I want us to focus in on what they say about theology and global warming. They say that global warming rests on poor theology with a worldview of the earth and its climate system contrary to that taught in the Bible. Our examination of theology, worldview, and ethics finds that global warming alarmism wrongly views the earth and its ecosystems as the fragile product of chance, not the robust, resilient, self-regulating, and self-correcting product of God's wise design and powerful sustaining. We conclude that humans have very little influence on the Earth's climate, and from that, it follows that they have very little ability to control it. What are they saying? In a nutshell, they take Genesis 1 and 2 literally. God created the world. God is in control of the world. So instead of seeing humanity as being the force behind global warming, they see God creating a world that has within it this ebb and flow, this warming and this cooling, this warming and this cooling. And human beings have little or no influence upon that. Because if they did, it would mean that God is not in control. And so instead of seeing this as an idea that if we're not careful, we could end up being in trouble and perhaps even destroying ourselves, many evangelicals believe that God is in control of this, and therefore we have nothing to worry about, and there's nothing that we can do about it. This idea does not negate evangelicals from supporting the environment. There are many evangelicals, the majority of evangelicals, who believe that it is our responsibility to care for our environment, that it is God's gift to us. Where they stop is that idea of doing anything to lessen our carbon footprint on the earth, because it isn't going to make a difference. They support environmentalism, but when it comes to pulling back on our use of fossil fuels, it's not really that important. And they believe that that will create a huge economic fallout for our country and throughout our world. Robin Veldman wrote a book entitled The Gospel of Climate Skepticism: Why American Evangelical Christians Oppose Action on Climate Change. Fascinating book. And she, in 2 sentences, cuts to the core of the issue of global warming and Christianity. She says the following: evangelicals are the Christians who matter the most when it comes to climate because of their political affiliations. If Republican leaders aren't getting pressure from them, then it doesn't matter if the Christians who are Democrats are really pushing hard, but the Christians who are Republicans are not. She's saying that it really boils down to the evangelicals and their link with the Republicans. And until evangelicals have a different view of global warming, nothing's going to change as far as policies and regulations to stop the carbon footprint in our world. So what are we supposed to do? I mean, that sounds pretty hopeless, right? I think there are some things we can do. I'm going to offer you 4 ideas for you to consider. Number 1, be informed and stay informed. Be informed, number 1, about the science behind global warming. Take the time. Find a good book on global warming and read it. And become informed on what science is saying about this issue. But not only be informed in the area of science, but be informed when it comes to your own Christian beliefs. Not only your beliefs, but evangelical beliefs. Because the evangelical community has a particular way in which they view the Bible, and from that, their understanding of God and their understanding of humanity, and all of that together informs how they look at the issue of global warming. But what about us? Do we have a true sense, individually and collectively, of how we see these things? I mean, what does the Bible mean to you? What does it mean to us as Church of the Beatitudes? Do we take the time to read it and understand it? And while we may not see it as inspired or the inerrant, infallible Word of God, that doesn't mean that we ignore it. If we are going to have a conversation within Christianity, we have to understand not only how they see the Bible, but how we see the Bible. And the only way to understand the Bible is to actually take the time to read it. And so become informed about the Bible, not just about reading the Bible, but actually reading the Bible. And from that reading will come your idea of God. I mean, ask yourself, how involved is God in our world? If you believe in evolution, then what role does God play in our world right now? If you see God active and involved in your life, then what does that mean as far as God's involvement in our world? Is God in control? If you don't think about those things, then that will impact how you see global warming and how your conversation would go with other Christians. And not only that, but then it becomes our idea of humanity. Is humanity above the rest of the world? Or is humanity one with the world? Are we to have dominion over the world? Or are we to work intertwined with the world? Again, if we don't take the time to think about these things, then our convictions won't be solid. And that's the second thing that we can do, is once we've become informed, we need to have a sense of conviction of where we stand. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to change our ideas, we're not going to change our opinions. That will happen. But first and foremost, we have to be able to be rooted and say, at this moment, these are my convictions. This is where I stand on this issue of global warming. And then out of that, you will make decisions about how you will vote for those who will represent you. The challenge that we're facing right now is that we have taken global warming and we've turned it into this sense of only a political issue. And so if you're a Republican, you vote Republican. If you're a Democrat, you vote the Democrat line. But as Christians, before we look at Republican and Democrat, we need to step back and say, what is it that my principles and values that I derive from the Bible and my understanding of God and humanity, how does that inform my decisions and who I will vote for to represent me on all levels, from the city to the state to the federal level? So not only will you be informed, but you will have a sense of conviction. At this moment, this is where I stand on the issue of global warming. Number 3, rethink and consider your position and your relationship to fossil fuel. It's really easy not to think about this one. We need cars. We need heat. We need electricity. But the bigger question is, how do we get those things? Primarily, it has been through fossil fuel. Is it worth taking the money and the effort to develop new resources that will provide us the energy that we do need, not only here in America, but throughout the world? And can we create those resources in a way that will help those poor nations be able to have and harness that, and in order to increase the quality of their life? The way we've done it, you have to decide, is that helpful or harmful to the future of our world? And if it is harmful, what can we do to create something that will be more helpful? And that means thinking about your relationship to fossil fuel and the companies that harness it. I listened to a sermon this week by an individual who preached at Riverside Church in New York some years ago. And he ended this sermon by encouraging people to divest their investments from fossil fuel companies. Because he felt that if we would pull our money back, they would get the hint that they needed to take their resources and put them into a new direction. Is that a good idea? I could give you my opinion, but that won't matter. What matters is, what do you think about it? So become informed. Find your convictions. Think about your relationship to the fossil fuel industry. And then number 4, don't be afraid to read and talk to other Christians who see things differently than you. They're not the enemy. They are one with us. They are the same ones who choose to take and hang their hat on the name and the banner of Christians, just like us. So we need to understand them, but we need to enter into dialogue with them. Not to try to change their minds, but to try to understand them. We right now are in a transformative period in the history of our world. And you know this. I mean, COVID-19 is transforming us. It's radically impacting our lives individually and all the different levels of our world. I don't think any of us understand and realize what our world will be like in the next 10 years because of this COVID-19 pandemic. But we're also in a transformative period of time when it comes to global warming. It doesn't matter if you think about it or if you don't think about it. The world is warming. You have to decide, is it just a natural process that God is in control of? Or is it something that we as human beings are doing and that we can change and alter the trajectory that we are on as a world? This is a transformative time. It's really an exciting time. So don't sleep through it. Be wide awake. You can make a difference. And you may say, no, I can't make a difference. Yes, you can. It may be in a small way and it may be in a large way. That doesn't matter. You make a difference. So please, take the time to understand the impact this has on your life and in all of our lives. Amen.
We come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living in the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are?
Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are?
See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are?
Do we know who I am? Do I know who you are?
See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Oh, so is life a bunty ho. So is life. Oh, so is life a bunty ho. So is life.
Water make the river, river wash the mountain. Fire make the sunlight turn the world around.
Heart is of the river, body is of the mountain. Spirit is the sunlight, turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. Oh, so is life a bunty ho. So is life. Oh, so is life a bunty ho. So is life. So is life.
Join with me in a time of prayer. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. Amen.
Touch the earth lightly, use the earth gently, nourish the life of the world in our care. Gift of great wonder, ours to surrender, trust for the children tomorrow will bear. We who endanger, who create hunger, agents of death for all creatures that live. We who would foster clouds of disaster, God of our planet, forestall and forgive.
Let there be greening, birth from the burning, water that blesses and air that is sweet. Health in God's garden, hope in God's children, regeneration that peace will complete.
God of Christ reconnect us, using us gently and making us one.
Thank you for joining us here at Church of the Beatitudes Online. Before you take off and enjoy the rest of your day, please receive this blessing. May you be blessed with serenity. Serenity to truly accept where you are in your life's journey with no judgment, where we are as a world in our journey with no judgment. Just accept it. And may you have the serenity to do that. But then may you also be blessed with courage. Courage to make the changes that you can make in your own life and the changes that you can make by the decisions and how you live out those decisions when it comes to the rest of the world. And then may you be blessed with a spirit of love. Because if love is the root for your decisions and the changes that you make in your life and in the world, you can't go wrong. And so may you receive that blessing of a spirit of love within inside of yourself. And let it grow within you so that throughout this week, you can make love real for those around you. Amen.
Make God's love real, make God's love real, today, tomorrow, and every day. Make God's love real.
Wow, what an exciting week we have ahead. Again, Beatitudes is coming at you in so many different ways, and we're excited to experience both virtually and live virtually. So this week's Beatitudes Online, we have a live stream of our communion service today at 10 a.m. You can watch it on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, or our website. You can click the live link at the top menu on that website. Also, of course, check your inbox with an email with all of the links for all of our virtual services. And of course, I miss Janelle this week, who always says Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. You can connect to us on Zoom. This morning at 9 a.m., we have Ruminate, where the topic is That Way Lies Disaster. 4 p.m., you can join our virtual summer camp if you are in grades 1 through 6. And if you are in 7th grade all the way up to 12th grade, you can join our virtual summer camp at 7. And at 5:30, our Soul Seeds gathering for our young adults is available on Zoom. And then, of course, Wednesday, we have our favorite, very bizarre and exciting Beatitudes Boost. And that's at 6 o'clock. If you need links for any of these because you are new, we are excited to have you. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to connect in very unique ways. For those links, send an email to media@beatitudeschurch.org. And finally, as you know, our church offices remain closed. However, if you need anything at all, please do send us an email or a phone call, and we will be in touch with you as soon as we can. Thank you so much for joining us. We are blessed to have you. Peace and love, and have a blessed week. So you want me to do this week's church life? I can't even possibly fill Janelle's shoes. Those are big shoes to fill. What? You don't think she has big shoes? Oh my God, that's disgusting.
We'd like to thank you for joining our service today, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully in person sometime soon at a worship on campus. And first-time visitors, you are invited and welcome anytime. These are tough economic times with tough economic decisions for all of us, but the church needs our contributions, our gifts, whatever we are able to give in order for the church to continue its mission and its message. And the church is making it as convenient as possible. You could go online with a one-time gift, go to beatitudeschurch.org, or you could even set up automatic payments through your bank. Whatever's easiest and whatever you can contribute would obviously be greatly appreciated. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call the church office. And we'll see you virtually again for another worship next Sunday at 10 a.m. Beatitudes Church, making God's love real.